Elite Assembly. Step up and see flashes the ToyLeet crew. We're the kings of the game, yeah, the chosen few. From the shadows we rise with the rarest finds. Collect them, respect them, we're one of a kind. ToyLeet, ready the streets. Elite with defeats in this collectible feast. ToyLeet, never the street. We're the heart of the beat, where all play makes me. Check our stacks, our collection supreme. Limited editions, every collector's dream. We're the myths, we're the legends, with every drop. Taking over the block, we never stop. In the alleys where the echoes play. ToyLeet's the name, hear what we say. Rising, thriving, always thriving. In our realm we're always dropping. ToyLeet, reign in the street, the live ToyLeet. Setting the pace, with a snap of the case and a click of the lock. ToyLeet's on top and we're ready to rock. Collecting more than just toys, we're up. We're up. We're up. ToyLeet, ready in the streets. Elite with the feats in this collectible feast. ToyLeet, never the street. We're the heart of the beat, where all play makes me. We're the dream, we're the ToyLeet. What's the flow? Cause in this zone we never admit defeat. Come for the thrill, stay for the chase. ToyLeet's in the place, set in the pace.
Holy cow, what's up, man? How's it going?
What's happening? What's happening?
You know, life, another day, living
Another
the
day,
dream.
another day.
Another
How you
day,
doing,
another
brother?
dollar, or I think it's like more probably like closer to like 80 cents now.
Yeah, maybe even a quarter nowadays.
Yeah. I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Well, I've been busy, but that's
Busy.
life, man. Busy.
Oh, man.
Busy, man.
I guess it's good to be busy though, right? Because if we weren't busy, we'd be
Exactly.
disappointed and moping around. So I guess I can't complain, right? Better than I deserve, as they say.
Exactly.
Good deal. So, for those that don't know us, I'd introduce myself, but I think it works out better if I say he's Ed Akxion Figs.
And he is the Mr. Wundrful, aka Travis, aka Mr. Hexastack.
And together we're some sort of group.
Yeah, that's right. We are called the ToyLeet.
Awesome. So for those that don't know who we are and it's your first time joining, this is a show we take live. We take it on the road once a week, every Tuesday night, normally right around 9:05. This week there were some obstacles that pushed us back about 25 minutes, but we're here nonetheless. And what we like to do is we get together. We like to talk plastic. It's, as I say, it's our plastic passion. And it's the joy of toys that we both celebrate in, and what we refer to as toy adjacent. Could be comic books, could be Deadpool versus Wolverine, could be Planet of the Apes, could be whatever other DC movie is going to fail when it hits the big screen that we still like to enjoy and watch. Your Hasbro, your Mattels, things like that. But what we think is a little unique about us is that there's a ton of guys out there and tons of friends of ours that do really good shows where they talk about the Hasbros, the Mattels, those leaders in the toy industry. And what we like to do is we like to champion and celebrate those that aren't at the the forefront of the industry. In the Walmarts and Targets and toy stores all across the country and globe. We like to champion those independent toy lines and independent creators,
Especially the up-and-comers.
Especially those. I mean, but that said, there's a lot of guys that are out there that we talk about, like Four Horsemen, and I think we have some news about them this week.
Oh, yeah.
That I wouldn't consider them an up-and-comer. I'd consider them a leader of the independent toy lines.
That's right.
Like Dolliverse and some of those other ones. So we touch on those guys that seem like they're right on the cusp of breaking out of independent toys, right? And could be argued that they're not really independent anymore. But they still are. They're still in our community. We're still a part of theirs, and or the brotherhood as we refer to it. So we'll talk about those. We'll give weekly news. We do like to kick it up and do a little throwback to the original show, and give a little shout out from the Crick to somebody in the brotherhood or the community here that's doing cool things. Positive member, brings a good vibe to the area, and just makes it all around fun. So we always do that, and then we always talk about a main topic. We take some time, we do a little bit of research, we laugh about some things we find online, and some things we remember from childhood or young yesteryears, and we discuss something. Sometimes we've talked about how to survive a convention, or being the attendee, or the vendor. And we've also talked about things like finding cheap toys, or balling on a budget as a collector, things like that. This week we got a little special topic. I guess it could be considered, I don't know, controversial maybe, in some ways, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Before we get into that, Ed, how's the chat looking? I know we run a little bit late, so maybe the chat got earlier.
No, they well, there's only one guy that's complaining, but
Oh God,
it is right.
God.
So Fatrid's here. He was first today.
Hey brother, what's up?
Missed out on being first.
Oh man,
we're on episode 18, and it's got to be like 17 episodes in that he was first. Broke the streak just like the Undertaker.
Yeah. Oh man. So
and then we got this guy here.
Are we suggesting is Brock Lesnar?
Yep, that's Brock Lesnar.
He's the beast.
He's got the ponytail just like the Brock does now, right?
Good deal. Good deal.
And they got this guy here. Why start? He was trying to eat pizza and drink a Saratoga, and he wanted some entertainment.
He should come out here and hang out with me and drink a Saratoga.
That's right. And then Roll Keeper did show up. He was third today. If you're not first, you're last. So that's on you, Roll Keeper. Sorry about that. Just smacked my computer.
And he wasn't late, though. To be clear, he wasn't late.
No, he was not late.
We had a little late start time tonight due to some, we'll call it real world stuff.
That's right. And Ted said, because we started late, he's going to write 2 angry tweets to his 2 followers that are both him. And so prepare for the backlash of that.
I'm okay with that, as long as we get Mossman to respond to his angry tweet. Right.
And then there's this guy.
Hold on, sorry, I'm drinking. There's a guy. Is it?
Well, he's 3/4 of a guy anyway.
But he's the guy, right?
Yeah. Everybody get there once, man. Cool.
There you go. So you get that. You guys get that. Drop even when we don't get money sent to us. Right. We don't need money to be dropped for us to do it. We just get the presence of greatness.
We're not milking our fans. That's
and in response to his message, unfortunately, I did not. I did try to, but I wasn't paying attention today. Ooh.
Uh-oh, you lost something.
I'm here, but my computer just locked by accident. I think I hit 2 keys. I think I'm coming through again. Give me 1 second.
I can still see and hear you.
Okay.
Your other screen that the slides are on disappeared off the bottom, though. I'll keep going with the chat while you figure that out.
Yep, I'm good. I'm right back. I'll just get that back up later.
Yeah. David R. is here. Hello, all. And let's see who else popped in here. Nolan is here, so that makes us officially a Toy Tube.
We're officially online.
Hi, Ed, Travis, and the chat, and my buddy's Customs. Evening, everybody. What's up, bud? And let's see, Briscoe's here. Where am I?
Whenever I see his name come, it just makes me think of the Briscoe brothers from wrestling.
Yeah,
so it's total respect there.
Who the hell are you people? We ask ourselves that every day. And of course, Bud says ToyLeet sounds kind of elitist. It is. It's an elite toy brotherhood, and there's a whole hazing ceremony that you have to go through. It's tough. It's difficult stuff.
We don't have any new members because we only bring new members on at PowerCon.
That's right.
There was no PowerCon this year. There's no ToyLeet initiation.
That's right. And Punk says, did you see the commercial I played for your show last night, Travis? No. I wonder why, Travesty.
Last night, where was? Oh man, I had work stuff. I passed out wicked early last night, Punk. I do need to catch your replay. So maybe tomorrow. I probably got a couple blocks of hours that I can listen to ranting until we get to the main topic.
What's up, Plastic Skulls? He says, what's up, Mr. Wundrful and Akxion Figs, whoever that guy is. Glad to see you here. And Brick something says, not first. Nope, not first, Brick. A bunch of in talking, saying hi to everybody. And we got the Thanos copter saying hey to everybody. and Robert's Infinite Realms. Where's the patches if you're elite?
So with that question, Robert, we are working on some things. Patches. I'm not a big guy at patches. I can default to patches, but I'm much more what are those? Not
We're only
involved.
gonna give patches out when we're selling you a $325 toy. That's when you'll get your patches.
Yeah. No, I'm more about the pins. I'm a enamel pins. That's my thing. So if I can find a way to get some enamel pins out there, I most definitely will with the logo, because I like the logo and I love enamel pins. So let's see what we can do there.
Sounds pretty badass. And we got Kenzo's Creations with us. Hey, gents. Hey, chat.
What's up, Kendra?
And I think that is it for the
Awesome.
peoples.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Wait. Here we got a good comment here. Whoops, let me get the right one since it's flipping out on me here. Damn it! Quit posting in the chat. Let me get this up here. Do you need ToyLeet decoder rings? Yes, that'd be awesome.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine, bud.
Good deal. So,
all right, that's it, man. We're caught up.
How's things going, man?
Doing good, man. Doing really good, actually.
Good.
Going really great. I'm on my third week of actually working the 9 to 5 again. Actually 8 to 5, but
that's good.
Loving it. Loving my new job.
So I don't think that I don't think unless you've been out of work for a time, I don't think people who are at work and consistently have work can appreciate what that's like, right? So it's just completely motivated. At first it's some people are like, oh man, you're loving life. You're not having to go into an office and do a job every day. But I think when you go through that period of time where you're out of work for a little bit and then you get a job and you see yourself adding value, it's motivating. It's empowering, right? You're in control of your own shit again, The
paychecks are nice, and that's a great thing to have right now. It's not easy to go without a paycheck. Trust me. I've lived for the last 8 months on very little pay and trying to get shit to work out. But the biggest thing is just knowing that when you get done with a day, you've actually contributed, like you said, and you've actually, put a good day's work in, and
that's what it is. That's it, right? You can feel you feel like you accomplished something and you're adding value to the day and the world around you, right?
Especially when you're working at a place that appreciates you, right? My boss loves, the shit that I brought to.
That's awesome. And I'm so happy that worked out for you, man. That's congratulations. And I love hearing that. I love hearing the positivity in your voice on that every week. And just when we're chatting, seeing that, I'm like, fuck yeah. Sorry, my language, apologize. But I'm like, damn, yeah, that's awesome.
Who'd you offend?
Yeah, no. So that's good,
motherfucker.
Cool. Good. I know it's been a busy week because for Horseman made some announcements over the weekend. You're on every other day on a stream somewhere.
Yeah, I'm fucking everywhere, dude.
So, what did you pick anything up this week?
I did not pick anything up this week, but I did get my hella dope boxes in the mail.
What are those?
These are some hella dope wooden crates.
So,
and you can pick these up at helladopetoys.com on the merch section of the store. These are handmade out of wood by Random Diorama, and it's actually 3 of them. You get 2 of these with the actual frame of the crate, and then you get one that's got the that's just the box itself. But all of them have opening lids. Sunday night we launched these with as the exclusive Hella Dope Toys merchandise, and sold out of the first 25 sets that we launched, and now they're up for pre-order again, so Radnom can get a number of how many we need.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. Good deal.
And hold on a second. I just wanted to say thanks, Brick. I absolutely appreciate it, brother. Yeah. And Duffman's Dioramas popped in. What's up, Duffman?
Thank you, Duffman.
Duffman's a cool dude.
Good deal. I did pick up some stuff, Ed. I got quite a bit of stuff.
I can't imagine that would happen for you. I mean, you, Travis.
Well,
getting stuff.
So here's what happened. I slipped, woke up, fell out, and I ended up at a toy show on Sunday. So, that just happened.
I'm sure you just slipped, tripped, and your dick ended up in your. I mean, no, that's a different story.
No, that's a rap song by Eminem, I think.
Yeah.
And no, but I slipped, fell, and landed in a toy show.
I hate when that happens.
I actually wasn't sure I was going to make it because there was talks about going away for the weekend, and then like some people didn't have their kids, and we were planning trying to do some adult, go out and have a good time. Then we ended up just at our house on Saturday, which benefited me too because a friend of mine, who may or may not be listening in, happens to be a buddy who is into action figures nearly as much as I am, has his own display stand stuff that he does, but he's local to me. I think like the Saratoga County is like the largest producer of like action figure display stands in the globe, or ideas behind
You
it.
mean
But,
next to Florida?
well, right next to Florida, right? Yeah, we could talk about that one. Whole different, controversy, thing. But no, had the chance to meet up with him, and he's a good buddy who, whenever he's at like Ollie's and stuff, he'll snap some shots, and he knew there was a couple things I was looking for. So I did pick up a couple items from the Ollie's. He dropped that off to me.
Oh, nice. The white
the,
owl bear from Dungeons.
It's the white owl bear Doric for the Dungeons and Dragons line that came out like last year or so. I had been interested in it, but wasn't quite like, do I want to spend that kind of money? But happy I did.
You didn't buy any of the figures that Hasbro did, right?
What's that?
Did you buy any of the figures that Hasbro did with that line?
Is that Hasbro's line? Is that the Hasbro line?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hasbro had the two lines, right? They had like the vintage cartoon line, and they had.
I didn't do the vintage one, but I did get like the female, and I got a couple
from
other
the
ones.
Movie. That one came from the movie, so.
Yes, I got a couple from the movies and stuff. I haven't opened them though. They're in some boxes down in the basement. I just haven't gotten around to unpackaging them. But I got those. But before, earlier in the day, was out and about, and came across a garage sale or two, and I ended up getting this.
Whoa.
This is a King of Wakanda lunchbox, which I think Ed's in his head going, wow, that's a pretty cool thing to have right now. Keep your eye on this for later conversations, right, Ed? Right? I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I saw that and I instantly thought of a conversation we had recently. So I was like, I'm gonna have to grab that. And then I did get this Pops thing.
Was that at the garage sales also?
Yeah, it was at the garage sale, but it was a cool garage sale. They were like doing anything.
Yeah.
And it was like it was donations only. They had tons of stuff, it was all donated and stuff. But all the money was going to like a Wounded Warrior military fund thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I snagged a bunch of stuff, and I grabbed a book. It's a Kobe Bryant Mamba Way or something like that. The Mamba mentality. And
Rick
then
wants to know if there was a thermos with that lunchbox.
There was not. And I saw that lunchbox. I snagged that. My son got a couple things, and I grabbed that pop animation thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I thought worst case scenario, I'll airbrush this with a bland color and use it for some photos on some stands for promotional stuff.
Hold on real quick, Travis.
Yeah.
Ray stopped by. Just wanted to stop in and say hi, and he's only hanging out for a second. So thanks for stopping in, Ray. Appreciate you, brother. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you when you come back from your time off, bro.
And good luck with your surgery, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Right,
so
sorry,
I got all those things.
And did you get anything at the toy show?
Oh, yes, I did. Sorry.
Did you get something that's ToyLeet at the toy show?
No, I got something I'm going to talk about a little bit later in this bag.
Oh,
we'll talk about this, but I did get something that we can discuss with the ToyLeet. Whether it's
God, if you have a weak stomach, you may stop right here. Anybody hungry?
This is what I picked up. This wasn't at the toy show. This came with the other one. So it's the owl, but it's the non-white one there. It's the more traditional color. I don't know if it had a special name. I don't remember. But I figured I would rate this because I did open this one on Saturday as soon as it got here. This is the first one from the Hasbro Dungeons and Dragons lines figures that I actually opened out of all the ones that I purchased. Comes in pieces, like these chess pieces are removable. And they're like, just like, it's not hard, but they pop in and out. I don't know why they did it that way, but they did. And then they also have removable hands. So you can have like claws, or you can have more like, mount style. So for me, I was pretty happy with it. I like the, articulation. It's nothing crazy, but you can use it in a different form. You can have it more of a, anthropomorphic stand-up creature, or you can have it, the owl bear where it's just down. And, what I think is cool is, from a mount perspective, if I get time to kind of design some sort of,
Design
some
a
sort
little
of
saddle. You're good to
saddle
go.
or whatever, put it on the bear, owl bear here, and you got a mount for some of my lizards and things like that. So again, completely fantasy, mythic type approach.
Yeah.
So definitely give it the it's definitely got a place on my shelf for sure. So this
You can
one
have
will
like
not
good
be getting.
versus evil with your white and your brown one. Be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not lightweight. These are pretty solid pieces of plastic. Like they got a good weight to them. So I'm not worried about them falling apart or
Yeah.
they don't have any weird limited functionality in the articulation. I haven't run into issues. I will say one of the right hand got to make sure you get it in there good. It might just be this unit, but just be careful because I found it detached when my son was playing with it, and it was an accident. So either I didn't put it in enough, or it can be a little looser than the other ones. But otherwise, it's a good toy. I'm happy with it.
All right.
Definitely not flushing that one for sure.
Definitely not going down the flusher, and it's not floating around. It's going to go right up on the shelf.
Not at all, brother. Not at all.
That's awesome.
I think we had a couple other folks jump in. I don't know if
let's say hi to them real quick. Allison, the retro toy princess, says greetings, Allison. We love seeing you here. How's Carl doing? And his mom. And Payne's Toy Samples here. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you too, brother. Thanks for popping in. And let's see. That's some pretty posing with that owl bear and Como Savage Crucible.
Yes.
You got any notes for Travis Thanos? And it says, I like those owl bears. Bought a bunch of them at Ollie's. Yes.
Yeah, for $10, it's a killer. It's a killer price. I mean, that piece of plastic, it's such a heavy and dense, quality piece of plastic, and for what it is and what I wanted it for a mount. I didn't want it for anything else. So a couple of those, and I got to open the other one up. I'm sure the other one, same mold and stuff, is going to be just as good. Maybe at some point, see if somebody's created a saddle that I can print off and put on here. That'll be cool. It'll definitely be some outdoor pictures with my figs.
Yeah,
so
get them in a running post.
Won't get it dirty, but it'll definitely be outside.
Yeah,
you know how I work. So, with that said, I think we can jump into some of our main topic stuff. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Sorry, I hit some. Sorry, I hit some weird key combination earlier and it disconnected. Second.
You gonna be all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Just got dry in there for a second.
I know the Heimlich maneuver, but I can't do a long distance, brother.
Yeah, so we always like to let folks know what we're gonna be talking about at the end of the stream, towards the end of the stream is our main topic. And this week's
let's not say that because then we sound like somebody else who covers the topic.
No, but we preview it
end of the stream.
We actually get to it, and it's in a fairly timely manner, right? So, oh man, did Briscoe say it's $40 in sale in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh no, I wouldn't mess
$40 Canadians, what, like 30 American, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like 3 for every 10. You save 3 for every 10.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. So,
that's still pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Damn.
Cool. So let's go ahead and preview.
Let's do it.
The topic.
But scandalous, it's time to see.
Unveil the truth, the mystery. Barbie scale set to lean. Toys that cause a mighty scene. Dreams of play turn to dismay. Controversies in the light of day. Exit light, enter flight. Toys that gave us such a fright. Toy scandal fails unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Killers alien way too grim. For kids' shelves, not for them. But from its horror, twisted sights. Graphic figures in the night. Dreams of play turn to dismay. Controversies in the light of day. Exit light, enter fright. Toys that gave us such a fight. Toy scandals, tales unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Killers alien way too grim. For kids' shelves, not for them. But from its horror, twisted sights. Graphic figures in the night. Dreams of play turn to dismay. Controversies in the light of day. Exit light, enter fight. Toys that gave us such a fright. Toy scandals, tales unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Killers alien way too grim. for kids, shelves not for them. McFarlane's horrors, McFarlane's twisted sights, graphic figures in the knot. McFarlane's twisted soul. Wrestling figures crossing lines, adult themes in children's minds. Cobra, Sarah, war like play, toys that let the kids astray. Exit light, extra fight, toys that gave us such a fright. Toy scandal, sales unfold, shocking stories to be told. Toy scandal, sales so wild, toys for shock, toys for file. ToyLeet Takeover, let's go. Hear the stories, now you know. Like, subscribe and share for more. Stay tuned for what's in store. ToyLeet Takeover every week for the stories that you see.
Did I unmute us?
Yep. There we are. There we're back.
Little music. It's kind of like, it's making me think of like Beavis and Butthead, right? Like we have a really good, we have a topic, we shoot the shit for a little bit, then we go to a music video, then we come back, we talk a little bit more shit, and then we get back to our shit. And then there's a music video that plays.
I need some more TP for my bunghole.
That's what's happening, Kenzo.
That's what's happening.
Awesome.
So real quick, Briscoe says that the Owl Bears, wait, wrong one. My bad. Owl Bears are 59 to 69 in Canada normally. Damn.
Oh, man.
Damn. And Brick says the Lego Space book is the shiz. He loves it.
Man. I've been starting to, like, one of my neighbors is actually posted on like our neighborhood thing that they've got a bunch of Legos they want to get rid of. So I was like, oh, I might be interested in those. Like cheap Legos. I could get into that. So we'll see.
Well, I'll let you answer this question since you brought it up.
I don't even want to go there. I don't even know, man. I'm good. Good. Cool.
So now we're gonna go to
the creek where the water flows.
Exactly.
We're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love. ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the crick, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who passed the test. Community stars shining bright. Lifting each other, it feels so right.
So normally I do the shout out from the crick. It's just kind of a carryover from when I started the show with my son and I, and Travis and I decided that it's such a cool part of the brotherhood that we kept it going. But this week, Mr. Wundrful has someone he'd love to shout out.
I'm doing it. I'm shouting
You're doing it, man. It's all you. It's all you.
Well, if that's the case, I want to shout out myself because no, I'm not allowed. That's not how this goes, does it, Ed? We got to shout somebody else out. Okay,
I'll shout you out. Travis, you're amazing. You're cool.
No, I'm
love
not
you, brother.
I'm wonderful.
You're actually ToyLeet, as a matter of fact.
That said, let's introduce you to this week's shout out from the crick. That is Joe Ricondo. You can find him over at Instagram at Joe Ricondo. You can find him out on his YouTube. He doesn't do a ton on his YouTube. Check him out on his Instagram. I actually had the benefit of meeting Joe. I feel like it's been forever, like 6 months ago or so. There was a toy show locally, same one I went to on Sunday, Elks Lodge here in Saratoga Springs, New York. And I just happened to be walking around checking stuff out. And, I was stopped in, talking to a booth, asked a few questions, saw some Valaverse figures, and came across Joe. Just kind of hit it off, kind of shot the shit there. We kept in touch on Facebook, and, one thing led to another. We were talking. He's like, hey, are you? And then we were at the toy show together a few months ago. He was the guy that pointed somebody to me to move his tank and helped me move his tank pretty quickly. And then, we were just chatting, and he's like, hey, I'm going to be at Joe Fest. Are you going to be there? I'm like, unfortunately, I'm not, but a lot of the dudes I know is going to be there. And he's like, well, we discussed the deal and stuff. And I was like, I don't want anything for it. I will take, I'll hook you up. Dude was like, great about it. Reach out. He's like, what do you want? What do you need? What do you need? I was like, nothing. I said, hey, if you're down there, you can get me a little something. Pick me up a little book here. And that book he got me is the Delta 17 comic graphic novel here. And this is like a double shout out, because what I will say, is Joe Ricondo is such a badass dude. When I was at the toy show, he's got his stuff he's selling. He's just a collector like the rest of us. He's not trying to get over on anybody with any like crazy pricing or anything. He's just moving toys, enjoying the hobby, meeting people. Well, he's hustling Delta 17 there, man. He's got like a mini booth at the toy show, all Delta 17 stuff on display in cases, just promoting Ken and their stuff over there. And, that said, I did get this comic. And for those that are listening live, you can go back and you should message Ken. Ken signed this. And just so you guys can understand, it says here, and I quote, "To Mr. Wonderful, you're right. HBK is greater than Brett. Super Kick is greater than the Sharpshooter. Ken." So Ken from Toy Connections is finally in agreement, and I have it signed on his comic here. So
yeah, how much did you have to pay for that comic to get Ken to put that signature in there?
I didn't pay a dime for
that lie that he put in there.
Nah, that's not a lie. It's a fact. So being that it's Delta 17, Ken did that. Joe hooked me up. The fact that Joe and I only met once or twice, he was willing to do that for me. And then we were talking on Sunday, and I told him there was something he had on the table. It's like a Man of Arms Target exclusive he was looking to sell. I was like, hey, let me know if that's still here. I may be interested in it. He's like, oh, price will be set. I'm like, no, you don't have to do anything. Then he messages me yesterday out of nowhere, and he's like, dude, you can have it. He's like, it didn't sell. Nobody was really interested in it. He's like, I'm doing good. You can just have it, Travis. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, I'm taking care of him with one of the dragonflies that I got. And he's like, let's just call. I was like, dude, I appreciate you. So, he's just a genuine dude who's enjoying the brotherhood. He's not adding crap to it. He's promoting others like Toy Connections and the D17 line. So for that reason, I wanted to shout out from the Crick, Joe Ricondo, this week. Thank you, brother, for everything you're doing. I'm sure a bunch of you guys met him down at
yes,
Joe.
I met Joe down at Joe Fest, and I will vouch that he is a cool guy all around.
Yeah,
he runs around helping everybody out that he could possibly help out all the time.
Yeah, he was awesome. He's like, hey, you want anything else? You need anything else? I'll get you whatever. I'm like, no, dude, enjoy yourself. Just have a good time, And the only thing I wanted was that proof that Brett screwed Brett. And Brett wasn't as good. And
I'll tell you, I happened to be walking by when Joe was having Ken sign that, and you wouldn't believe that. You wouldn't believe the headlock that Joe had Ken in, so he'd write what you wanted him to write.
That's not true. That's not true.
Ken was crying. He was tapping out, and he said, "Just write it or I'll break it off." And then Ken had to write that shit inside that comic book for you.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, Joe's good dude. So again, shout out to Joe. Go follow him on Instagram. If you're in the capital region at a toy show, you might likely find him with a booth. Stop by, say what's up. Check out the D17 stuff he's promoting for those guys, and just have a conversation with him. He's a good dude overall. Yeah. So, thanks,
if
Joe.
If you like Delta 17, you can always go to Hella Dope Toys and order.
Where?
Because Hella Dope Toys.
The Hella Dope Toys? They
got it in stock, man. First online retailer for Delta 17.
I thought Hella Dope only kept big toys.
Well, what Ted and Aaron do in their closets is not allowed to be talked about online. So
that's fine. Hey, teach their own. That said, right. D17, go to the Hella Dope, go to the D17, whatever. Go to Joe Ricondo here, check his stuff out, give the dude a like, follow, interact with him. He's a fun dude, just overall good guy for the brotherhood. So that said, thank you. And thank you, Ed, for letting me fill in the details on the Shoutout From the Crick.
Thank you for bringing us such a cool guy to shout out, brother.
Awesome. Cool. So
if I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
I'm going to have to get like a bullhorn for that and do that on camera here every time. I just feel like it's needed. So this week, adding another logo. I might have mentioned it in time, but I don't think I've ever. I added the logo to the slide deck, so I know it was the first time it was on there. Almighty Legend. I know we talked about him before.
Yep.
It's a biblical kind of series, with like a action figure twist. Came around the same time as the Biblical Adventures line. The only difference is this one. It was a Kickstarter, right? It's already been funded. I don't know what the timeline on it is just yet right now off the top of my head. But what I do know is that they just showed some pictures within the last couple weeks of the figures and how they, after the Savage Crucible announced that they were going to be compatible with another toy line, my head was scratching, your head was scratching. I know Brick was telling me kind of like on the side, hey, what do you think it could be? Do you think it could be this? Could you think that? Well, eventually they announced that it was going to be the Almighty Adventures. Did I say that right? Or
Almighty Legends.
Thank you, Almighty Legends. And you can see here some imagery where you can see that they put it on one of the I assume that's Como's buck from what I can tell. And this is some of their most recently tooled Almighty Legends line. So as I told you, Ed, I'm going to be keeping my eye on this, and I might actually see if I can check out the backer kit and add at least an order or two, because my assumption here is that they weren't just armor packs when you were getting them from the Almighty Legends, but you were actually getting bucks. So I'm going to hopefully get some additional Savage Crucible like bucks. And the armor looks cool, and I'm thinking that armor is probably swappable with other, obviously, Como and other characters. So definitely going to be looking at that and considering getting some of that.
Yeah, it's been around. I mean, I think they've been announced for a good year at least. Almighty Legends, it's been around for a while.
So they came out and they were at the Kickstarter phase right around the same time Savage Crucible was, because that's when I was really getting into the fantasy lines. And because it was like the biblical, and I wasn't like I just didn't see I didn't see that lore really tying to something I wanted to play with at the time.
Those first couple figures that they showed though were kind of like, it was like McFarlane's Spawn figures back in the 90s, right? They were very artistic, very flashy. Lots of like spikes and armor and design features. But didn't really fit into like what we considered, the fantasy realm. Yeah.
But I mean, I did think they were cool enough that maybe I could use the armor for some things. And if it's using the same bucks that they have with Savage, and I don't know if it's the exact same buck or what it's going to end up being, but I know in the comments they had mentioned that they had updated their designs to ensure compatibility, offering even more possibilities with the action figures. So what I saw here was some openness to be cross usable on other things, which is exciting for me as a collector. So we'll keep you guys up.
The Almighty Legends are really the Archangels is what they're based on. They got Michael and Gabriel, I think the first two.
I'd have to go back and check.
I think those are the first two Archangels that they released.
Okay. So that said, that's what we're going to cover on the Almighty Legends. Going into the next one, this is a Kickstarter thing I saw. I don't know where it came up in, but it came up on my Instagram. And I mean, you can just look at it. Like even the guy in the back right-hand corner in the lower, it looks like the Lexion guy or whatever from AWOC. So I was like, oh, I gotta check this out. So there's a Kickstarter coming from it, and Battle Cat sounds like something I remember as a kid or something. I don't know if this has any tie into that or not. They didn't have much information from what I could see, but they had an opportunity to sign up for updates on the Kickstarter when it goes live. So of course this
that sword that the guy in the front there is carrying is very reminiscent of the other cat sword. Not exact, but it definitely has some, similarities.
No. So, I mean, I don't know if this is just going to be, it still looks like Omnibus and starter soundtrack Kickstarter. But again, we talk about adjacent things, independent stuff. So I'm keeping my eye on it. I may end up dropping it off over time if it's not something that continues to, interest me. And if no others are really interested in, but it definitely got me going, ooh, if that was a character, it'd be a pretty kick-ass character to have going against some of my AWOCs.
Yeah. He definitely looks like he could kick, somebody's ass.
Yep. This is a big one. This is a cool one. This is the Brutal Realm from
Let's Get Brutal.
Oh, you did that better than I did. So I guess I didn't update my image because that number is not right. I thought I updated this. Maybe I didn't hide and unhide it. Let me give you guys an update. It's at like 44,000, I think, right now.
And their goal is 140, right? Is that what we said last week?
It's 120, 160 for the first one. Let me double check. I always forget. Okay, so they're at $44,094 right now with about 339 backers with 23 days left to go. And their goal is 140. So they got another 100,000 to go just about. So I'm really hoping they fund. I'm concerned, to say the least, because we are, a decent ways in, but I'm hoping that we see them truck along here with San Diego Comic-Con behind us a little bit, people kind of knowing what's coming. In my opinion, there's nothing in the Kickstarter mode right now that is like drumming up people's dollars, at least from my side. like that
Yeah.
have my attention. They did show off a couple updated photos in the updates and on their Instagram. You can see some fully painted sculpts here. You've got a few of I think these are the baseline bucks, the
Yes.
baseline builders. And there's been a number of other shows, and I've got to catch up on a few of them because, believe it or not, next week we will have Brutal Realm and the creators from Brutal Realm on the show. We'll be asking them some questions. And I know they're working with David Vonner, so we'll have some folks on next week to help promote this. We really want to see this fund. I'm actually going to hold my funding until after the show that they're on, and then I'm going to place my funding at the end of the show, letting you guys know what I plan to back on this. I definitely will be getting quite a few figures for sure. I really want to see all of the figures, the stretch goals included. And my hope is that we get there, but it's a long way to go. And with about just over 3 weeks, it'll be a strong push here at the end. So hopefully, folks, if you're interested, get out there and place your backings for this. Every dollar helps get them closer to fruition. So I really want to see this one come out.
I did not watch the show, but Trust the Screamer, our good friend, had them on last night with him and Junkie on Crafts.
Oh,
I didn't
awesome.
watch the show because I haven't watched any of the Brutal Rum shows.
Okay.
Because when we talk to him next week, I want to be surprised. I don't want to know anything about it. So
yeah, I'm gonna do my own blow through the shows. I'll definitely True Star Screamer. I'll definitely go ahead and check that out probably tomorrow. I'm working kind of parallel listening because I want to hear what's being asked. I don't want to ask the same things, but I also want to make sure that I'm not missing things on it because I know there's some things about the lore that I haven't picked up on, just based on some things Brick has said in the past. I know Brick had them on. I really want to get these guys because they're going to fit in perfect with my Owl Bears and my Komos and all the Savages and AWOC figures. It's like the perfect fantasy looking figure to diversify the bucks and the bodies. So again, I was skeptical just based on the models when we first saw them, but having seen them and the progression they've made, very excited myself for this line. So even more excited to have the opportunity to talk to the creators next week.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Next we have this. I'm actually going to throw this one over the fence to Mr. Ed Akxion Figs and let him talk a little bit about the Four Horsemen, because while I saw it come out, I wasn't really paying attention to it because between you and I'm kind of out on the cosmics myself. It's just not my cup of tea anymore for where I see my figures going. I think they look really cool. And I know this is the book 2 of this. What do you got on this, Ed?
Well, first, let me just start by saying that the last wave of cosmics that came out, not Ox Crew Book 1, the last one, which was the drawing a blank.
I don't have it next to me, but
yeah, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I wasn't really too enthused with that last release, right? One I got was the gray alien dude. Because
was that Zaxxas, Ed?
Zaxxas, yeah, I'll post Zaxxas. Thank you. But I like what's coming out with the Ox Crew Book 1. I was like, I'll pick up a couple of those. Then Saturday night, they decided to have a show at 8:00 at night to release the figures from IshCon. And Brick and I have watched the last 2 live and done a live
Legion
reaction
announcements
for Legions, and then it was Brick and I the first one, and then with the Rising Suns, and then Brick, Oz, and I did the one after that, and then we had Joe G join us on Saturday night, and we did a release of this. And these figures are like that whole Tatooine desert space, wasteland vibe, and these figures are all just so friggin' cool that I'm like, just
so you're
take
back
my money. Yeah, just take my money.
Okay, interesting. I definitely see that. There's one guy right there, right in the center, underneath the sea. He looks directly pulled from Star Wars lore with that.
Yeah, they're all very, sci-fi, space, Star Wars inspired type characters. Yeah. And then they have the Buzz Off Master of the Universe homage figure that's absolutely cool. Very, very B-like. He's kind of hidden over in the corner of that picture.
Yeah, like it cut off for the image to fit. Right?
But they give us a mount, and the cool thing about the mount, it's a mountain skate back, and it's the little dude on the left there. I can't think of his name, but he is the keeper of that mount, and he rides him. And the mount actually comes with a bedroll that actually is soft goods and unrolls into a sleeping bag. functional sleeping bag for the figures. So
not for the mount, for the lesser one, right? The little guy.
for the little dude. Yeah. I mean, but
Okay.
how cool is
Like a
that?
penguin.
They give you actual, soft goods sleeping bags now, right? And of
Yeah.
course, all the characters have, soft goods, and they have that whole wasteland vibe to them. So it's like they not only fit kind of the space vibe, but you could put them into like a post-apocalyptic type, thing too, which is basically what I'll be doing with them. They'll be going with my space pirates that I'm building.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. I have some legions, cosmic legions. I'm likely going to be either doing giveaways or resells and trying to recoup. It's hard to recoup when they're discounting the prices like crazy, though. So
Yeah.
definitely makes it difficult. But they do really cool work. It's just, again, I have no.
Yeah.
I won't say anything bad about the cosmics. It's just
Well, it's the thing, right? Some people are into the sci-fi, some people are into the fantasy, and some people are into both. So it's like,
it doesn't fit in with my Joe real life type figures, but it also doesn't fit into my fantasy stuff. And I got in early and I started catching up on them because I thought some of them looked really cool. But then just where I stand, it's just not where I'm spending my money. But that's so that I can save it for things like the mythics and other things.
The other cool thing is they did release another. You can see it kind of sitting down in the bottom there. Another pack of accessories, $25 for the in the pre-order from the Four Horsemen. So there's probably like out of all 6 or 7, 8 characters, there's at least 4 that I'll be getting out of these ones.
That's cool.
And of course, Trevor, 1/6 shooter,
amazing photographer.
He always does these awesome photographs, and
Yeah.
we were all hoping for that vehicle to get released, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, that is a cool looking piece of equipment there. Good deal. Cool. Thank you for covering that one for us. I saw a couple messages in the chat. I don't know if you want to hit those up real quick.
Yeah, let's hit the chat up real quick. We've been ignoring them for a little while. Briscoe says he misses those McFarlane Tortured Souls characters. Yeah, they were pretty cool, man. And Ted tried to make some kind of corny joke, and I don't know if it landed right. But if you like cheap Legos, have you heard of minifigs? Half the Lego, more the price. HellaDopeToys.com for the win. And Trusted Screamer says, you are wonderful after all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And even Ted says, yeah, his joke missed out. Oh, he's the best there is at what I do. That's good to know. What's to say? I feel like we should check for forgery. That doesn't sound like Ken. He's out of control. That's why I said, man, he was getting held down and beat up when that happened.
No, I had JSA was there to confirm the autograph was legit. JSA certified.
All right, I believe you. So Ted says a case of Delta 17 landed today. His wife thought it was fan mail. Ted laughed and then went to his Crosses and Clyde. I'll send you some fan mail, Ted. It'll make you feel better. And Trusted Screamer says he likes those Almighty Legends better than the biblical ones. Yeah, the biblical ones are nice, and they got some really awesome accessories, but they're kind of very plain looking figures.
Yeah.
And about the omnibus Battle Cats or whatever, I think it was Battle Cats, right?
Yep.
Fun Cats characters on the top left remind me of Mars from New Adventures He-Man. Mara from New Adventures He-Man. Yeah. I can't read. I'm being Lawrence today. We already covered that one. And let's see. Brick, yes. Brutal Realm figures are fantastic. They need to get made. Get brutal, folks.
Yes, sir.
Lots of animals and beefy man figs. Not a lot of samurais and ninja figs. Nope. That's why you got to make your own like you've been. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
What up, sucker?
I give him the generic Wish version of that sound play.
That's the Temu version. What's up, Nomad?
Hey, brother.
Real quick, let's see. Did you see that pic of Ukha in that bedroll head? Yes. Total Adventure People nostalgia. Yeah, for their sleeping bags.
That's cool.
And Trevor revealed the info about the vehicle last night on Legion's Lounge. It was designed and made in-house by 4H, mainly as a Dio item. It'll be at Legion Con.
Oh,
damn it.
Cool.
No plans to sell it, of course. The bunch of bastards making cool shit and not giving it to
We'll
us.
see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a train, he says.
It's huge and basically a train. Yeah, it looks like that's what we and Oz kind of figured. It looked like it was, one vehicle. They were taking different angles, shots of it. So
that's cool.
And Nomad likes your Temu version.
Nice. Good deal.
All right, brother. On with the news.
Awesome. So on to the news, not too much left to cover, but one of my favorites, Savage Crucible. Not much new here to report on, other than the fact that they have been posting quite a bit of like lure information, like Nash Orin, the Disheartened. They provided his bio recently. Talks about the details around him, which me as a lore fan, this is cool. They go through his caretakers and the high priest activities, things like that tied to him. And then learned some of the skills that he gained, things like that. I don't want to spoil it all for you, so go check out their Instagram, read up on it. But you can get some insight into their lore, and they've been doing that for a number of the Wave 2 figures already. Additionally, just wanted to call out and remind folks that are listening, the Savage Crucible pre-orders are up until August 16th. Pre-ordering is the least expensive way after the Kickstarter to get your orders in without the risk of sellouts. Wave 2 is estimated to ship from the factory in Q4 2024, so sometime this year they're expected to ship. Hopefully, these will be under our Christmas tree. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And the one thing we should say about Savage Crucible is that they have no plans to re-release the figures that are in the Kickstarters.
Yep.
So it might be your only chance to get some of them if you're not.
Well, so for clarity, it's not just the Kickstarter, from my understanding. The way they said it on their website and the way that Rob has spoken about is that they have zero intentions on re-releasing the same figures in the future. If they do a re-release, it from what they've said and what I understand and interpret it is that those re-releases will be significantly different versions of what they've done. The only exception or close exception to that is the Savage Crucible slate for the Lemurian, which they did do another one, but they added some stuff to it and they changed the color. So it was definitely different.
Basically what they're saying is if we do release a character, that character is going to be in completely different armor, completely different, whatever. So he might be a warrior this time. It could be a king next time, something like that.
Yep. That's the way I answered.
Perfect.
It. Yep.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So yeah, again, until August 16th. So next week, Friday, what's today's 10th? Or not next week, Friday. I don't know why I said Friday.
Today's the 6th. So next week is
10 days from now.
Yeah.
2 Fridays from
16th.
now, right?
Yep.
Okay.
16th.
Yeah.
You were right with the 16th.
Friday, the following Friday, will be the end of that pre-order. So get those in. I mean, I don't know if you guys followed Wave 1, but once those things started hitting the folks' hands and those preview videos for those select individuals that got them in their hands early, they were ripping out fast. So go ahead and get your pre-orders done. Okay, that takes us to the end of the news here and brings us back into this. So one more time for those that have joined us after, before we get into the main topic, we'll go ahead and hit that little runner.
But scandalous, it's time to see. Unveil the truth, the mystery. Barbie scale set to lean. Toys that cause a mighty scene. Dreams of play turn to dismay. Controversies in the light of day. Exit light, enter flight. Toys that gave us such a fright. Toy scandal fails unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Killers alien way too grim. For kids' shops, not for them. But from its horror, twisted sights. Graphic figures in the night. Dreams of play turn to dismay. Controversies in the light of day. Exit light, it's a fright. Toys that gave us such a fight. Toy scandals, tales unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Killers alien way too grim. For kids' shelves, not for them. But from its horror, twisted sights. Graphic figures in the night. Dreams of play turn to dismay. Controversies in the light of day. Exit light, it's a fight. Toys that gave us such a fright. Toy scandals, tales unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Killers alien way too grim. For kids, shelves not for them. McFarlane's horrors, McFarlane twisted sights. Graphic figures in the night. McFarlane twisted soul. Wrestling figures crossing lines. Adult themes in children's minds. Cobra, Sarah, warlike play. Toys that led the kids astray. Exit light, extra fight. Toys that gave us such a fright. Toy scandal, sales unfold. Shocking stories to be told. Toy scandal, sales so wild. Toys for know what's in store. ToyLeet Takeover every week for the stories that you seek.
How about now? We good?
We good. We good.
Awesome.
We bad. We bad.
Just got water all over myself because I'm a fool.
Good thing you played that, man. My coffee cup was bone dry. I had to run and get some of that song.
Good deal. Good deal. Cool. So, toy scandals, the most controversial toys ever made. So, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But they definitely have some controversy around them. Some more than others, but interesting nonetheless. So you get a little background. We'll talk about this. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. We'll talk about some that we've highlighted here. And I know Ed had a couple that didn't make the cut just because of putting the information into the slides and such in time. But we have a couple items that I think Ed will probably talk about at the end in addition to what we have on the slides. So the first one, I want to kind of get this out of the way early. It's Slumber Party Barbie from 1965. You know this one, Ed, at all? Or
Well, that was my favorite one. I had this one when I was a kid.
Did you? This was your favorite?
Yeah, this is my favorite.
Yeah, it made you feel good.
Yeah, I slept with her every night.
Okay.
Every night I dreamed she'd wake up and be full size, and it never happened. So
yeah, I mean
look at that face. How could you not love it?
She looks like she got punched. No, so this was introduced in 1965, right? Slumber Party Barbie accessories. They included the key thing was the accessories associated with this and what was included. So for those that aren't familiar with this toy, when it came out in 1965, it was packaged with a scale, and it was also packaged with a small book. The key is what was written and what was on these things. And from my understanding is that the scale was permanently set to 110 pounds and that the book was titled How to Lose Weight. And I think with a single instruction inside that said don't eat or something like that. I don't know if this is stuff that I just found and it's like, old wise tales or whatever, but that's what I found.
The funny part is back in the day, right? Even as a young man, a boy, when I had sleepovers, my buddies and I were always like, let's go weigh ourselves, right? Let's just see who's the biggest, heaviest dude, right? And girls did it all the time. I mean, I had a sister, I had aunts that were, not much older than I was, right? And it was always, let's go weigh ourselves, right?
Yep.
Now, the book saying, if that's legit what the book said, that I can understand that being an issue. But the scale, that's kind of a kid thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I can see it being controversial because everybody's
right.
so body positive and everything, but
right. Well, from what I gathered was that it immediately arose some frustration from parents and educators and health professionals, concerned about the negative message that it was putting on young girls specifically, promoting unhealthy body images and potentially encouraging some eating disorders, right? Because don't eat, guys.
I get all that, but we are talking about Barbie who lived in a fucking dream house and drove around Corvettes and stuff like that, without having a career.
Right. Well, she's the original OnlyFans model.
That's right. Exactly.
No, I kid.
There goes half our followers. Damn it.
Damn. I guess I know where to start up my next stream.
That's right.
Behind the paywall, guys. If you want to see this smile. That said, it definitely it captured some media coverage and thus resulted in a little bit of public outcry. Considering it was the 60s, Mattel did what Mattel was going to do, and that was defend what their decisions were.
Yep.
Because at that time, that's what manufacturers and stuff did. Yeah. They defended their and justified what they were doing. They didn't live in the world we live in today, where instant media comes and shuts things down if they don't necessarily align with the public perception and image that they want said.
Just by some oddball chance, did you see what the sales were for this?
I didn't. I thought about looking into the sales and stuff of it, but I did find that it eventually Mattel responded by removing the controversial items from future Barbie sets.
Yeah.
It also led to an increased scrutiny of Barbie's impact on body image and prompted Mattel to be more conscientious decisions and a message they were intending to send to their consumers. Long term, I think we can fully agree that Mattel, has gone through the process of trying to introduce more diverse and inclusive Barbie dolls to promote both body positivity and self-esteem. So, kind of a controversial toy at one time or another, that I think we can all agree over. I guess at this point it's nearly 60 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's more than 60 years. 30 years? No. Am I doing my math right? I don't know. It's
This next year will be what? 60 to 5
25.
to 2005 is 40. So you're talking 65 next year. Yeah.
Okay, 65 years. Thank you. Something like that. I don't know. I don't think that math adds up either. 60 years. It'll be 60 years next year.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So 60 years there. Oh, God. Briscoe's got his jokes in there, too. So he's right there. He's going to hell with us. So that's a little bit of information on Slumber Party Barbie. Going to the next one, we have Kenner's Alien from 1979. I don't know if you were paying attention to this one, Ed, or if this was something in your wheelhouse, but it's an 18-inch figure. So you remember this.
I remember this.
Obviously aligned to coincide with the release of the rated R science fiction horror movie Alien, which we have like that new movie coming out in a couple weeks or whatever this summer. All tying back to this same approach. At the time it was considered a fairly highly detailed and frightening design, mimicking the creature from the film, the R-rated film that children could not, go see.
Which was the reason, right? This was probably the first toy made based on a R-rated movie.
Yeah, I think like RoboCop and stuff later on, that.
All of that's kind of broke the mold in '79, and that's when the '80s came out and said, "Yeah, fuck it, we'll do Rambo, we'll do RoboCop, we'll do it all. It's okay, and we'll turn them all into cartoons too." While we're at it,
did you have this toy, Ed?
No, but my ex-brother-in-law had it because he's a huge Alien fan, and he has this one from his childhood still.
Oh, cool. So, I know some of the notes I grabbed on it was like, parents and consumer groups, quickly raised concerns, right? The appropriateness of marketing toys, and specifically frightening toys from R-rated movies to children. The toy was eventually deemed to be too scary for its intended young audience, leading fears to that it could be, cause nightmares and anxiety. And eventually, due to the backlash, many stores, not Kenner, but the stores themselves, removed the figure from their shelves after its release. Imagine being that father that, like we are, trying to run out to the store and get a hold of this toy before they pulled it off the shelf because they only had it in. I mean, because back then, I wasn't around back then, but I think it's pretty safe to say it, and you could probably confirm, we didn't have that like collector section in the back of the CD or at that time the record album aisle to get a hold of these toys.
Nope.
One of the impacts
you wouldn't even have known really that they're getting pulled until like you watched it on the local news, right? It was like now if something comes up that's controversial, right? It's out all worldwide within minutes. Back then it was might have been a blip of a story on the 11 o'clock news. Say, oh, local, blah 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 is pulling this toy from the shelves because of this reason, right?
That makes sense. And then, just some of the impacts that it had on Kenner from what I was seeing was that, Kenner eventually did, pull the product from the market, because of the concerns. It did highlight, the controversial consideration of, balancing movie merchandising and the appropriate of the target audiences, especially when the movie itself is not something a child should be, seeing, something that's suitable for them.
The thing is that this controversy and it being pulled from the store shelves has made this figure worth like collectible money, right? I mean, it's in a collectible sense, it's worth a lot of money.
Oh, I'm sure if you got a hold of it, it definitely changed Kenner's marketing strategy, making them more cautious about future releases. And I think they're still making good decisions today about the releases. Correct?
Well, they're out of business. So
subtle comment there, I guess. Little dig.
I mean, Hasbro took it over, so there you go. How good with that decision?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
We're going to buy you and your properties and never release them.
Right. Well, this one we'll probably see some stuff for if we haven't already for the movie, right?
Yeah.
The next one here is a more recent one. In 2001, the McFarlane Toys Tortured Souls line. So this one
I
would have
remember
been,
the controversy around this one.
yeah. So this one I probably would have seen in the stores. This probably would have been in like your FYEs or whatever they were, and some of those toy stores
Yeah,
that
it was
was
definitely
carrying.
an FYE, and
Yeah.
I think Toys R Us had them in their, like Toys
Okay.
R Us even back then they had like their section that was more adult collectible toys, but it wasn't like we have now, but they had Spawn and all those kind of offset from Batman and all
Yeah,
those.
I would have seen these on shelf. I would have never even went near them. Like being honest, I'm just not into that gore and stuff and the
Well, like
horror
that
stuff.
guy that you got in the front picture there. I mean, like he's hanging by like meat
Yeah.
hooks, right? I
Oh,
mean,
it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was, collaboration between McFarlane and Clive Baker.
Yep.
When they launched the Tortured Souls line in 2001, and I think at the time it probably made a lot of sense for that partnership with McFarlane because they were just coming out of the Spawn. I mean, Spawn been around for a little while, but like they'd really like been building that brand and that awareness and that. I know at this time they were also releasing things like the Scream movie action figures, and they had the Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, they also
kind of
had
Dark
like
Moon.
the monsters set that McFarlane did. Like they had a werewolf, and the werewolf came with like a hunter that had like its leg ripped off that was
Oh.
mutilated and stuff like that, and Frankenstein's playset came with like brains and blood splatter. And that was probably the first like blood splatter you saw in like a toy line, was something
Okay.
McFarlane did, right? It's
Man,
crazy.
it's so graphic in these pictures. When I pulled these up and I was looking at them, I was like, I went right to the McFarlane site and pulled them up, and I was like, holy cow! Like,
Yeah.
these are pretty. I mean, I don't remember them because it wasn't something that would have drawn my eye to it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see, because of the gross, the depicted grotesqueness of those, and additionally, even at its time, what I would consider, I know I personally give a lot of flack to the McFarlane level figures now, not so much because of the detail, but because like back then they were really one of the top, in my opinion, they were one of the top producers of some really detailed, cool looking figures where you still had much more cartoonish in the Marvel and DC stuff. This was giving you much more
Yes,
adult,
McFarlane's figures
teenage.
were always very artistic and
Yeah.
very well painted. Still limited
Darker.
articulation, but it was darker and always that
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. So, the public reaction was, consumer advocacy groups, media, criticism from the parents, all those folks, similar to what we talked about before on the others. There were some concerns around the appropriateness of marketing such very graphic and violent toys, even if they were clearly identified and targeted and intended
Yeah.
for adults. There was
Yeah.
concern because it's still a toy, or, perceived as a toy, not so much as a collectible.
Yeah.
Because even then, I think it was probably hard to 24 years ago almost, or whatever, 23 years ago. I don't know that they were really calling it, collectibles in the same way we do today.
Right.
Again, the same potential negative impact on children who may, encounter these. I don't really think many kids probably really came across these. I
No.
feel like even in 2001, these would have not ended up in the aisle right next to.
They didn't. I mean, like, and they weren't in Walmarts. They weren't in Targets. I mean, but parents even had problems with like some of the Spawn characters, right? Because they always had big blades and all sorts of. Spawn was never like a superhero that we would consider superhero back even in 2001, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think is interesting about this controversy, right, is that McFarlane Toys, unlike, well, I guess I won't say unlike the prior controversies, Kenner with theirs and Barbie with that, they tried to defend in some cases, and then they recoiled, right? And they followed the criticism and pulled and adjusted, and in some cases, rightfully so. But with McFarlane, they defended the line. They emphasized. I know again, I'm critical of the McFarlane toy lines today, but as an adult collector, probably have a lot to thank McFarlane for being one of the originals in targeting the adult collector, right? So he fought this in this line. He fought that these were targeting adult collectors rather than children. Also, there was quite a bit of controversy, and it sparked discussions on the boundaries of how horror and graphic content should be seen or allowed to be seen in toys and collectibles. But regardless, I mean, McFarlane's still out there, unlike Kenner. McFarlane stuck to this in this situation. Obviously, two different businesses and two
Right.
different, generations when they were coming and dealing with things. But at the end of the day, McFarlane probably benefited from that and, standing their ground in it and continuing to fight to be a producer of adult collectibles, not just children's toys.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they've continued to produce more mature theme figures, and have become mindful of how they market. And
You're right.
themselves.
I mean, McFarlane was probably one of the first ones to target adult collectible themed type figures, right? I mean, yeah, Kenner had the aliens, but I mean, those were kind of targeted towards just a movie, right? It wasn't set out to be
Right.
a adult collector type of property. Whereas McFarlane was like, yes, I'm going to market Spawn, these guys, their monster lines to adult collectors.
Yep. So I mean, like, and this isn't so much, and again, I don't want to get into noise on the main lines, right? We talk about a lot of mainline stuff because that's just where the history is when we talk about our main topics. But one of the things that is a comic book that I've read over the years, the last few years since it's come out, is, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one. It's that Berserker one, and I may not be saying it right, but it's basically Berserker without any vowels. And it's the one that was written by Keanu Reeves, or in partnership with Keanu Reeves. McFarlane, I think it was just announced maybe at San Diego Comic-Con or just a week or so before that, give or take. McFarlane actually is partnering with Boom Studios and the Berserker line to produce that. Again, that comic is a very mature comic, and I only read like the first 2 or 3 in those. My son has all of them, and I just haven't gotten around to catching up on them. But it's a very interesting, but again, very mature, targeted comic in the way it's approached. Like pretty graphic. So as much as I would have rather seen that IP land in someone else's hands, from articulation and what I like to see in my toy lines, it'll be interesting to see McFarlane bring that to life. But again, because they stayed on that straight and narrow, I think that as controversial as this may have been in 2001, it may be one of those things that helped keep McFarlane at the forefront of some of the toys and collectible market. So yeah, that covers that one. Brings me to the next one, which is, lo and behold, a wrestling one. And I didn't pick this one out on my own. I did some digging, and this is one of the top 5. Like, believe it or not, wrestling made this list not because I looked for it, because it came to me. So this is WWF. This is 1999. This is right in the midst of the Attitude Era. And for those folks that are wrestling fans, I'll talk a little bit about more wrestling at the end of the show as I promote some other stuff I'm doing. But again, wrestling in 99 was very edgy, for its time. And, at the time they were releasing toys, and they were working a lot with Jakks Pacific at this time frame, if I recall. And in doing so, they were creating the characters that you saw on TV. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, there were some characters that weren't necessarily the most savory characters that you'd want your, they weren't the characters that were saying, eat your vitamins and say your prayers. They were the vitamins that were saying things like, let's get on the hoe train, and do you want to see my puppies? So they were some very, not savory characters. But at the time, you had characters, as you can see here, the Godfather and Sable, in here, and they had very much so known adult themed wrestling personas.
Yes.
Sable was often on TV not wearing a top, and sometimes having like paint hands on her, and other scantily clad outfits. The Godfather, again, his whole character was based on that of a pimp. So he literally would go into town and have live TV shows, and they would find ladies of the night locally that would come out on stage with him and represent his ladies of the night. So a lot of negative feedback for that, and a lot of concerns. They're very much so criticized because they're promoting the inappropriate misogynic themes to children, because that's who they were targeting. A lot of media coverage, and I remember this because they were getting so much coverage for not just the toys, but the media that they were producing, that they actually turned it into a storyline, and they took people like the Godfather, and others like the Val Venus, who was depicted as a porn star, and some other, again, not the best characters, and they put them in white shirts and black ties and black pants and called them the right to censor, which was basically a target at like the advocacy groups that were trying to censor them and tone down their stuff. So, again, in response,
wrestling went through a weird phase in the 90s, man, because I grew up watching like the Hogan era, where the good guys were definitely good guys and the bad guys were definitely bad guys, and they weren't even that bad, but you knew they were bad, right? And then I had stopped watching wrestling for a little while, and then I started watching it again, and it was like a totally different thing. It was like, holy shit, girls getting undressed, ripping each other's clothes off, and mud wrestling. And then you had guys like the Godfather and, Stone Cold flipping everybody off all day long, swearing. I was like, damn.
Yep. Yeah, quite a bit of raunchy material at times. But, that was WWF back then, WWE as it became, and in response, WWE, manufacturing, they made efforts to tone down the adult themes in the action figures. So they tried to make a little less provocative action figures. It did increase the scrutiny of the content and marketing strategy of wrestling-related toys. Long term, we went through the PG era. So eventually, after the 90s, 2000s, the period of time there where we basically got John Cena, the superhero, which was basically the modern day Hogan. You couldn't beat him, and he, instead of saying eat your prayers and say your vitamins, he said never give up. And that was the family friendly approach to it. There's still some adult themed storylines and stuff, but not nearly to the level that they had back in the 90s that was depicted in the toys. But again, they also, they took
Which is really funny because Cena first came out as like this raunchy rapper from,
Oh yeah, he was bad when he first came out.
Were horrible.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, there was references to choke on my blah and some other things. So yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So that covers that one. But again, we saw it. It's arguably the top figure, the top toy line of a decade for their 6 or 7 decades running in my book. So, it wasn't so controversial that they're not still producing awesome action figures. So,
what's up, Radnom?
Thank you, Radnom. Appreciate you, brother. And I think we were talking about Radnom a little earlier. So
that's
right. Didn't hear he's partnered with our buddies over at Hello Dope Toys to produce some really cool crates that you can get through them. They're currently up for pre-order. Handcrafted wooden crates assembled by Radnom and sold and distributed through Hello Dope Toys. If you're looking to get those, first batch they had on Sunday night during the live stream sold out, I think, within 30 to 40 minutes. And they're now back to taking pre-orders in preparation for the next batch that Radnom is going to be working on.
Yeah, get to work, Radnom. Quit slacking, hanging out in this chair. Get to work.
And last but not least, before we kind of talk about some ad hoc ones and let the chat open up. So, chat, as we close up on this one, start thinking of some of the other ones you may have considered controversial. That said, so 42 minutes is what it sold out.
Yeah,
and
42 minutes.
This one was considered controversial, believe it or not, which I was surprised. But when I was doing the research, it was determined that Real American Hero, Cobra Commander most specifically, was a controversial action figure. Obviously part of the television show, the cartoon that we most people think of when they think of G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
At least most people my generation, I will say.
The best part about this is that, in the cartoon, right, Cobra Commander was basically a bumbling idiot. Every plan he ever came up with never succeeded, right? And it's just funny that, part of it is, of course, the overarching war battle type of theme, right? That was just still going on with the Cold War being ever present and everything else. But the terrorist organization, was probably not the best thing to call them either. So.
And that's where it immediately catches the attention of everyone. Is it was a terrorist organization, and we had the early, we had things that were, starting to pop up in that early, in the 80s and such that were, related to terrorist stuff. And it was starting to become a hot topic item, in addition to the fact that we had seen that entire kind of, I don't want to say entire, but we saw a lot of shunning of the idea of violence and Nerf guns and becoming blasters over time and things like that, right? Trying to not still let the kids have the things they wanted, but try to have it a spin of glory that was not as violent, right?
Yeah.
So Cobra Commander specifically, he was glorifying violence. He was always up to no good. He was a terrorist in their eyes. That draw a lot of attention. That they were embodying a terrorist leader, raising concerns about the messages being sent to young audiences. Though, I mean, again, this goes back to they weren't
The other thing
promoting
is, though,
him as a good guy. He wasn't a good guy terrorist. He was a bad guy. So you needed somebody that your good guys could kick the crap out of.
Right.
And that was the idea. But
the point is, though, is that had Hasbro come out and said, yeah, this is the Germans and the Russians and the Japanese or whoever it was, right? It wouldn't have been received any better. The only thing Hasbro could have done is release Cobra as, like they ended up doing with the Cobra Law, turning them all into aliens. And
they could have got away with it if they did those brute guys from the 60s or 70s, whatever they were.
Oh, yeah. You mean the strong men from outer space?
The Neanderthals or whatever they were. Yeah. So, sorry, I learned about that, and I'm never going to forget about those guys.
Yes.
So there was the advocacy groups, same people that were complaining about everything I've listed before were coming up, and I'm not saying I'm not saying they were right or wrong, but they had concerns. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't tell you whether it was right or wrong, but I can tell you that I don't try to glamorize violence because of the cartoon shows that I watched when I was a kid. Maybe I'm a lucky one. That said, there was concern about potential, desensitization. Yeah, however I say that word. Folks being desensitized to violence, and the impact on the child's understanding of conflict and war. So there was a lot of controversy around that. It did, Hasbro did respond to the criticism. They, tried to emphasize the heroic aspect of the core G.I. Joe characters and how that there was always a moral lesson of good versus evil. The controversy did lead to ongoing debates about the appropriateness of military-themed toys and their influence on children. Long-term, Hasbro has continued to produce G.I. Joe figures, but has also continued to incorporate more diverse storylines and characters to broaden the appeal and address the concerns, making it more. The word fantasy isn't the right word. I think sci-fi or more less real is the way to approach it.
Yeah.
So kind of covers the G.I. Joe and the Cobra Commander as one of the controversial. And I know, Ed, I mentioned this before. Hey, chat, if you've got any toys that you can think of that you want us to talk about, I know Ed has Professor Ed over here, or as I refer to him as Professor Akxion. He can dig into that library or encyclopedia of a mind of his and speak on the things that he recalls. And I think there's a couple you wanted to call out too, right, Ed?
Well, there's just a couple that I remember, like there was the original Boba Fett figure that had the firing rocket that some kid supposedly choked on. And, it was a bad day for the, for the toy collectors because we lost the ability to, choke on our toys.
Sorry, Ed. We're live. If this wasn't live, I would edit that out and I would say, let's go back a second, because you open it with it was a sad day. Somebody allegedly choked on it and died. And it was a sad day for us toy collectors because we didn't get our shooting rocket.
That's right. Exactly, man. I don't believe anybody really choked. I think it was all just, the Karens of the world keeping us from getting our toys.
That's funny. No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I just thought it was funny the way it sounded, and hopefully some folks listening in are laughing as hard as I am about it.
And then, later on, there was always Mattel went through the phase where they had the Polly Pocket magnets that were falling out and the lead paint that went on. That was a whole big controversy. And probably the most popular common one nowadays is the Hooded Cobra Commander, of course, being related to the evil KKK, people. And, there's no doubt about it. The KKK is bad, and that's why we're not getting the Hooded Cobra Commander. But, there's been some other ones throughout the years of just little things like, the Bratz. The Bratz was a big one. There's a lot of parents that didn't like the Bratz dolls because they were called Bratz and not, the very sophisticated, every woman Barbie look that they went more towards the, we're teenagers and we're rebellious teenagers. And, throughout the years, there was just those kind of things. There was the Garbage Pail Kids. Garbage Pail Kids wasn't really a toy when it was going through its big, controversy, but a lot of parents were disgusted by the Garbage Pail Kids when you had boogers and all sorts of things that kids find amusing, like pimples and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Didn't know that. I did.
And this is another one that Largo brought that up. Actually, it was the Battlestar Galactica vehicles that caused Boba Fett's rocket to get nerfed. Exactly.
Okay.
That's very true. But I'll tell you, in all reality, had the intruders been able to grow in a line, we would never had the same problems with G.I. Joe that we had in the 80s, because they could have just been fighting a bunch of alien Neanderthals.
There's a couple other things, and maybe we can dig in this a little bit deeper. But as I was doing this, I extended my search beyond just controversial, but also into banned action figures. So we may come back and circle on this a little bit and go a little bit deeper. But there was a couple things that were banned in the U.S., right? So Mattel's Lone Ranger was banned. Mattel's the Lone Ranger Silver Bullet action figures from 1975. They were banned. The reason it was banned is because the set included too realistic looking. The bullets were too realistic looking, and the gun were deemed to be too lifelike and potentially dangerous, could leading to safety concerns, and it was subsequently banned. Additionally, even as recently as 1992, there was a McDonald's Batman Returns Happy Meal toys, which I feel like I would remember. They were action figures, not in the traditional sense like you and I, but they were just those toys that get pulled from the McDonald's Happy Meals. But they were pulled because they were considered too dark or violent nature, because the Batman Returns film, which was considered inappropriate for children. So there was a couple items that were banned. I got a whole list of them and stuff that I put together.
Well, I know also, and more related to some of the stuff that we had as younger men, as adult collectors still. In the Spawn line, there was a character that was named Angela, and the first release of her actually came without painted underwear on, and she wore a skirt. So she was actually she got really popular with the adult collectors because of that reason. And then that Ultimate Soldier line, the one that I had in my thing from last week, right? Right after that Black Trenchcoat Mafia went through and did that school shooting, they released a terrorist figure that was wearing a black trench coat. Now, of course, they had that figure designed way before that ever happened, right? But just talk about bad timing, right? And they still released it because they had him boxed, and it was almost like the same day they were getting released, that happened. So it was what are you going to do, right? And it's that was a big controversy. Yes, Rollkeeper called it. She was called Party Angela. That's what her name was.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't think I saw anything. I saw RG show up. Thank you, RG.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anybody else that spoke on a specific item.
No.
So with that said, I'm going to go ahead to the next slide here. And this is what our topic is next week. Brutal Realm. Kickstarting the next generation of action figures.
Let's get brutal.
Yeah, so we'll have some folks from Brutal Realm on. Looking really forward to that. We'll have your normal toilet, your news and the shout out from the Crick and just kind of the normal intros. But we'll have some guests with us here. Really looking forward to having them. Haven't had too many guests on the show. There's a lot of shows that do that, and they do a great job with it. Not something that we're gonna do every week or even every month. I mean, come on, you're kind of blessed with me and Ed. And I mean,
hold on. We got a celebrity showing up.
Oh, wow. I think I know that.
What's up?
I think I know that guy. That dude kicked my ass this past weekend, by the way. I'll talk about that in closing here in a moment. But yeah,
we got another guest popping in at the end here too.
Oh man,
what's up, sir?
People just wake up.
Oh yeah, look at this, another guy popping in. Oh, you know what?
Joining the ToyLeet.
I want to do a shout out real quick. I know this is outside of the shout out from the Crick, but so last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, I don't remember. The Four Horsemen did their skeleton sale with in-stock sale mixed in with it, and I wasn't going to get the skeleton, and I decided not to get it because I'm trying to save up since I got $400 worth of Monster Force coming out at some point in August, according to that other store that I will not name. But Joe G and Terrence, since Terrence was at IshCon, got me one of the skeleton figures from the Four Horsemen. So
That's awesome.
shout out to Joe and Terrence. You guys are awesome. You guys are rock stars. I love you.
Awesome. Good deal, dudes. Good deal.
Well, you should be friendlier to people. Maybe they'd pick one up for you, Matthew.
So next week, check us out for the Brutal Realm. Before we wrap up here, what was I gonna say?
What do you want to promote?
What do you
want to promote?
What do you want to promote, Ed?
Let's see. What am I going to promote? So Thursday, I'll be on Punk's Thursday I won't be on Thursday with a Punk, but I'll be moderating with Matthew for him since, he likes to abuse his moderators. And then make sure you stop in and check out the Clubhouse Saturday night. I probably will not be on the Clubhouse Saturday night. I have a family reunion to go to. And it's at the lake, so I'll probably fall in, lose my phone, get really drunk. So I will not be there unless I pop in loaded. Then we'll have some fun. But
oh man, blue champagne on Ed in the ocean, water, dropping bones.
That's right. So,
I'm gonna make a phone dropping in the lake song.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yep. And that's pretty much all I got. What about you, brother?
Well, you'll be back here next week with Brutal Realm, right?
Brutal Realm.
Sir. Awesome. So I have recently partnered with Aaron over at Hello Dope Toys. Been working with him on a show over on another another YouTube channel. 1.2.2. podcast. You can go ahead and find that out there. It's a cool show where we talk about wrestling. Aaron's doing a cool job recording some kind of shorts and stuff, just promoting some of the pro wrestling news. I think it'll continue to get more active over the course of the next couple of weeks and months. Myself and Aaron have been chatting about different things we want to do and bring it forward. This past weekend, we did release, or I guess not this past weekend, it was last week now. We did a SummerSlam preview show where we went through our thoughts on how the pay-per-view was going to turn out. And then we picked our selections and we got a review that we're going to be doing. Tomorrow.
Who did better? That's all I want to know. Was it you or Aaron that did better?
Well, so that's the thing, right? I have to go back and look at the sheet. We do the review, but we also do, so other people can take part. We have we use prowrestlingsheets.com. There's a website out there you can register for. You can join the 1-2 Kickout podcast stable or faction that they have on there. And there's like a prop bet sheet that you can do with us every pay-per-view or premium live event. And you can run against us to see how you compete. That one, they do all the calculations. I don't have to do any work. Aaron beat me by over 10 points this past week, and I still think he cheated. That's just me. We'll discuss that.
Well, he is called a Black Knight for a reason. He's slick like that.
Yeah, he did something. I don't know. He must have sabotaged.
He probably watched SummerSlam before that, actually, before he did his votes, right?
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. But it does cut off an hour or so before it goes live, but we'll see. But it was a good show. So Aaron and I are going to be doing a review recap of that in the next couple days. I think we're doing that either tomorrow or Thursday. That'll launch just a day or so after we do it. Maybe Largo, but that'll probably be on the behind the paywall. You'll probably have to go behind the paywall for that one. But yeah, we're having fun with that. So you can find me on that. Not streaming much other than that. I don't know that I'll be on any of the shows this week. I did join in on Punk's, behind the scenes, Punk's members only stream last week. Next week, we'll have our show with Brutal Realm.
Absolutely. Good show tonight, brother.
Awesome. You too. So other than that, I'm going to leave you guys with this. You're either with us, or I guess you're either ToyLeet and you're either with us or against us. But regardless, y'all should stay wonderful.